to our October 12th, 2021 City Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I would like to this time entertain a motion to waive the rules to add an update on the CARES Act grant and discussion regarding a forensic audit from Mayor Rossi and Finance Director Frank Chaplinsky. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Hosky. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Bruno. Any discussion on waiving the rules for this purpose? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and that will be under committee meetings, under the Finance Committee. We'll have that update. Stacy, could you please call the roll?
Councilman Gary Donovan.
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large here.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky, present.
Councilman William X. Conlon, absent. Councilwoman Elizabeth Johnston.
Here.
Councilman Mitchell Galagnano.
Councilman Mitchell Galagnano here.
Councilwoman Robin Hamilton.
Councilwoman Robin Hamilton, 5th District here.
Councilman Peter Massaro.
Councilman Pete Massaro here, 6th District.
Councilwoman Trinae McGee.
Councilwoman Trinae McGee, 7th District, present.
Councilwoman Crystal Finelli.
Councilwoman Crystal Finelli, 8th District, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno.
Councilman Robert Bruno, 9th District, present.
Councilman Barry Lee Cohen.
Councilman Barry Lee Cohen, 10th District present.
And Chairman Ronald Quagliani.
Councilman Ron Quagliani, Council at Large, present. Okay, before we enter into public session, just a reminder of our public session rules. Please raise your hand to be recognized when you come to the podium. State your name and address for the record. I ask you to be concise and be respectful of the council. Also, in this forum, discussion on particular employees or employee positions are not allowed unless prior notice is given to the employee and they have an opportunity to request that discussion in executive session. That being said, I'll open up the floor to public comment. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the City Council? Mr. Lewis.
Good evening, everyone. John Lewis, 10 Peppermill Drive, West Haven. At the MARB meeting in early September, I had two requests of the board to review the improper use of the CARES Act funds received by West Haven and to look into the improper use of the ARPA funds in the 2021-2022 budget. Fortunately for the residents, they took notice. At that meeting, Mayor Rossi stated that there were no improper uses of the funds and that the requests were political. She was wrong on both points. Now with the FBI in our City Hall, discrepancies are suddenly found with the use of the COVID funds. Asking the City Council to authorize funding to do a forensic audit of the CARES Act funds is not necessary. The MARB has already hired an auditors to perform the audit, and spending more of the residents' money for a redundant process is foolish. To restore any semblance of trust, the City Council needs to act quickly and firmly. Require the Finance Director to give a monthly report on the use of COVID-related funds, commencing with the next meeting, as I stated months ago. Require the Finance Director to forward the August 31st federal filing of to the Council, and each successive filing forwarded in conjunction with the Treasury Department's to get a better understanding of the issues and demand that each office respond immediately. These requests are basic in some of the pending investigations. State clearly that the council will be the body giving the final approval of the COVID expenditures, regardless of the amount. Create a committee of residents, small business owners, nonprofit officers, city council members, and how to determine the funds will be appropriately used. As the Treasury Department Secretary Yellen has suggested, guidance has suggested the bottom-up approach, not from the top down. Trust needs to be restored. The mayor and the administration providing misinformation, refusing to answer FOIA requests, and the intentional refusal to provide this body with any financial information regarding these funds for nearly a year. The administration will not be able to restore that trust. Again, the city council needs to act quickly and firmly. It's time for you all to lead. The finance director to give a monthly report on the use of the COVID funds, commencing the next meeting. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for your comments. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address the city council? Ms. McManus?
I'm Diana McManus. I reside at 62 Hine Street. I just wanted to let the council know that I filed an FOIA request in late June, and the request was accepted by the city. My request has been, I believe, stonewalled or ignored. I know it was received. I received a letter from an attorney that I have to go through to get any information on my request from the city. Mine wasn't pertaining to COVID funds. It was a generalization. I want to know who's paying for the outside attorney and the reason. And I do want to let the city know that I had filed 2 complaints with the state of Connecticut, and those will be reviewed very shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McManus, for your comments. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address the city council? For a second time, anyone else from the public like to address the city council? Mr. O'Brien?
Thank you. Ed O'Brien, 36 Platt Avenue. I would first of all like to agree with John Lewis over here that I don't think we need to spend money on an investigation. I think, you know, we have a FBI investigation going on, and I think that should be good enough. I don't think we should spend the money for a forensic audit. But what I wanted to speak about tonight was Chapter 4, Section 9 of the Charter states that the City Council can have an investigation of any department head, department, or board. I think we should do an investigation of the mayor's office. She said on the record, on the news, that she just found out about this 2 weeks ago. Well, you heard, people have been filing FOI complaints. This has to be the worst kept secret in the city of West Haven. To take our FOI request and send it to an attorney is just, it's another blatant waste of taxpayers' dollars. And my personal FOI request, I sent 3, to the finance director, to the mayor's office, and to the corporation counsel. The attorney that it was sent to, Lynch, Traub, Keefe, and Arante, is a brother of Lee Tierney, works at that firm. So we have a firm dealing with our FOI request with somebody who I requested information from. If that's not stonewalling, if that wasn't done intentionally, I don't know what more we need to do. But I do think that this city council should do an investigation. There's been investigations done much less. This is a very serious issue. And again, once again, West Haven is back to having that stain with the FBI here and the federal government doing investigations. It needs to stop, but it needs to be investigated and find out how it got there, how the mayor didn't know about this. It's just it's unrealistic to think that you just found out about this 2 weeks ago. So that's it. That was really what I'm here for, asking for that investigation. And I too would also like to know, what did we pay for outside counsel to handle FOI requests that we've handled? time and time again. I'm sure there is far less FOI requests right now than there was during my administration. So, we should be able to handle it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien, for your comments. Anyone else from the public like to address the city council? For a second time, anyone else from the public? Ms. Krasinski?
Margaret A. Krasinski, 1 Row Bart Street in the Allentown section. In the Register this past week, there was an article about the town of East Lyme. This is a small town in the eastern section of Connecticut. They received the money from the American Rescue Fund plan. What they did, they turned around and asked their residents how to spend that money. Not in West Haven. That would be the best protocol when we got quite a bit of money. We weren't asked how to spend it.
So,
They
Ms.
turned
Krasinski,
around and
Marge,
asked,
Marge, just for the record, I just want
go
to,
ahead, Ron.
I just want to clear up. So the ARPA money is currently, matter of fact, a survey went out to the residents. When the mayor presents
To the residents?
that's right, when the mayor presents the draft plan to this city council's intentions is to have hearings with the public to determine what their thoughts are and uses for that ARPA money. So that discussion has not come in front of us yet.
I didn't get one of those surveys.
Okay, the mayor says it's on the website, but again, we will have a very open discussion at a council meeting or more to discuss the public's opinions on the use of the ARPA money.
Well, just, a lot of people do not have a computer.
Understood.
I have a computer, I have an iPad, and I have the iPhone. I didn't see it.
I just want to point out, we haven't gotten that. That hasn't come to us yet. So that was my only point, is that we haven't seen the draft plan for the ARPA money so we could have a public hearing.
Who made up the draft plan?
I said, we haven't gotten it yet. Right now,
You're
there's...
getting it from the federal government? From,
Marcia, my only point was we haven't gotten to the ARPA money yet. The council has not approved the use of any ARPA money yet.
wait a minute. Have you gotten any money whatsoever? Have you got any money?
I think that the city will talk about that in their update tonight, what money they have. The point is that there's no money that has been spent yet.
Okay, she has designated money to certain people in this administration. We've seen it already in the articles of the paper. That means you have to have some sort of money here already.
I don't want to go back and forth. That's a different, that's a
I'm just
different
saying,
grant.
my
That's a different
question to you.
grant.
So remember that, when
Right.
you come to that discussion, because I've already seen the figures. Okay?
Understood.
Because I worked with money from the federal government through the treasury in my job with the insurance company. Okay? So I know money. All right, and that's why I'm saying East Lyme. So they got money and they went to their residents on how to spend that money, spend it. Okay? Because this town does everything ass backwards. Because I had an incident Saturday where I needed the fire department. And I questioned the firemen. They've got no money. Only through the ambulance. And I said, I couldn't believe it. What they go through, because I saw it firsthand Saturday. It's disturbing when individuals get money, and this is ambulance, the Allentown Fire Department. Thank you.
Thank you, Marge, for your comments. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to address the city council for a second time? Anyone from the public like to address the city council for a third time? Anyone from the public like to address the city council? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. We'll enter into our regular council meeting at 7:15 PM. The first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the September 27th, 2021 meeting. Is there a motion? Motion by Councilman Bruno, seconded by, Councilman Cohen. So there are corrections to the minutes that I would like to review before we move on them. You kind of work your way down the page with me. I believe in the first sentence, it should say the regular meeting held on Monday, September 27th, not September 13th. The 7:41 PM Public Information Center session should read 7:05 PM. The regular meeting was called to order at 7:41 PM. The approval of the journal, again, was for September 27th. And all the way on the bottom, the part about Councilwoman Hosky presented the following motion should be stricken from the record because there was not, and Councilwoman Hosky was not at that meeting. I think that's all I have. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor as amended? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, Stacy, if I could ask you to read the communication for tonight into the record?
We have before us Communication A from the tax collector in regards to overpayment refund for the month of September 2021, which will be filed with tonight's minutes. And then we have, are we calling it B, Mr. Chairman?
That's fine.
We have Communication B, which was added to the agenda, requesting a forensic audit to be added to the agenda for the audit of the COVID funds.
Right, and that'll be Finance Committee, and the waiver of the rules was to add an update on the CARES Act grant and discussion on a potential forensic audit from Mayor Rossi and Finance Director Frank Chaplinsky. And as stated, that will be over to the Finance Committee, which is Councilwoman Hosky. And we'll recess for committee meetings, and we'll call the Finance Committee. Councilwoman Hosky.
The time is now 7:20 and your Finance Committee is in session. Present are Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilman Massaro, Bruno and Cohen, and myself acting as chair. The mayor, do you want to speak now, or do you want
Yes.
Frank come up first?
No.
You want to go ahead?
I'd like
All
to go ahead,
Go
thank
ahead,
you.
ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. First thing I want to do is go back and either answer the questions or correct the record on what was said. One thing that was said about the last MARB meeting is that I stated there was no improper use of funds. What's getting mixed up in this whole thing, there are two different sections. One is the 4 people that were identified and actually brought up in the first FOI, which was under Ms. McManus, and that also wasn't, it was, somebody stated tonight, I'm not going to go into names or anything, that we've been refusing to answer FOI requests for nearly a year. The first FOI request that I received a copy of was the end of June. I want to say the 24th or 25th of June. Last I checked, that wasn't a year ago. The other ones came subsequently afterwards, whether weeks or a month afterwards. As far as the improper use, again, of it, what had happened, 4 people were identified that basically work around me. They're part of my team, if you will. And it was stated that they had no right to these funds, they didn't have any of it. Let me explain to you, because I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. Those folks work. They are appointed by me. So that means that they don't belong to a bargaining unit or a union. However, there is a resolution that every previous mayor has had part in, and that is that they have 1103 benefits. Not everything, but most everything to it. And one of which is compensatory time. And compensatory time is given whenever they have to work above and beyond their work schedule, which is 35 hours a week. The purpose of compensatory time normally isn't for a payout. It's normally that this week you might work extra and then you take a few hours off the following week. However, this was a pandemic. People were reassigned, people had to do jobs they never did before, people had to take care of our residents and try to keep them as best as they could safe during the pandemic. So certain people around me were working 40, 50 hours a week. Those are the people that I'm talking about that I stand by. They were our frontline workers. They did everything, and they put themselves in harm's way to take care of others. So that, as far as I'm concerned, is a completely separate issue and has nothing whatsoever, does it even resemble what is going on now. As far as why did we hire an outside attorney? The reason we hired an outside attorney, because named in the FOI, is our corporation counsel. That would truly be a conflict of interest if he did his own FOI and anybody in that pool. So it's very, very important that you understand we don't want a conflict of interest. So that is why we hired an outside attorney. It's unfortunate, because I agree, normally we do the FOIs in-house, but these went to an outside attorney. I knew about and I'm sure the council knew, because I sat on the council. I don't know if you want to tell her this isn't a Q&A. Ms. McManus has her hand raised.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry, it's not, public comments closed, Ms. McManus.
She's wrong about my FOI.
Okay. Mr. Lewis, you know the rules.
Can we
No,
please-
no, you don't get, this, you had public comment, and now the mayor's on the, agenda to speak, just like every other council meeting. The rules are the same, nothing's changed. The mayor's giving the council an update. The council has an opportunity to ask questions of the mayor. It's not just the mayor giving an update and that's the end of it. So let the mayor finish giving her update, and then I'm sure the finance committee chair will allow the council to ask questions regarding that update. I'm sorry, continue.
No, thank you very, very much. Then I want to go on to another comment that was made today about not giving residents time or anything. Just so people know, the CARES Act is completely different than the ARPA money. The CARES Act was emergency funding. It was to fund, whether it's vaccination clinics, our health department, to make sure people, again, were safe. It is not the same thing as the ARPA money. ARPA money is it's looking for long-term recovery. We actually have until '24 to spend this money. We have not spent any of the money yet. It sits in an interest-bearing account. And so we are working, we have a couple of people working on a plan, because we do want to put together a plan. We did put out questionnaires that are on the website. I worked with Doug Coulter on that to get input from the public, because I do believe the public is important. But as I said, that's a different bucket of money as opposed to the CARES Act, which was emergency funding, because it was above and beyond what we normally get from anywhere. It was new funding to take care of the residents and our employees during this difficult time during the pandemic that went on for a long time, and quite frankly, we're not done with it yet. So again, that was that part, and I want to make sure I got everything. Okay, so now I do want to get back to what we were talking about. So I did discover irregularities, as I put out in my statement. I am very pleased that I found it, and I reported it. This was very, very important to stop what was going on, and it had to go through certain processes. Again, we are going to look at all of this. I contacted Office of Policy and Management. They will be authorizing an audit. I haven't heard from them today. They were supposed to get back to me today, but I did not hear from them back today. They will be looking to do an audit. Additionally, our regular city full audit is in play. They will continue doing that and testing and checking all of the books and records. I cannot say a lot about the process because it is under investigation. And I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of rumors out there, one of which is that a raid took place in City Hall on Friday, which I was on the 3rd floor. I didn't see any raid. I didn't see any folks there. There was no commotion. In fact, if anything, I'd have to say Friday was one of the quietest days I've seen here in a long time. So unless they raided the 1st floor and I missed it, it was no one on the 3rd floor, which I would assume, and not a raid expert, but I would assume that if you were going to raid somewhere, you would raid, finance, maybe the mayor's office if you wanted. All the important offices like that are upstairs, except for like tax. There's different offices. To my knowledge, there wasn't a raid on Friday. Again, there's all kinds of unfortunate rumors out there, which is unfortunate because it's clouding the issues and it's not helping anyone. All it's doing is making more tension, I think, in the city. That being said, we are moving forward, as I said, with an audit. We are holding off on a forensic audit until, first off, we see what MARB direction is, because we still are under oversight, because we were on the verge of bankruptcy when we got in and deficit bonding was triggered. So we had no choice in it. We were put under the state immediately within 2 days of me taking office in December of 2017. So again, I am doing my best to keep the city going forward, doing the right things. We will, have already corrected, I'll say internal controls, because that's what I call it. It's checks and balances for normal lay people, putting different things in place that, again, I will not discuss here, to further protect our finance department and our assets. So again, if any of the council members have questions, or maybe something I skipped over or didn't go as much in depth, please feel free. I'll do my best to answer them, what I can answer.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. So we'll open it up to the council. I myself have a couple of questions, and just for clarification, so I think it's really important. If you could share for the record where the questionnaire is that you put out for the ARPA funding. I know that we have at least a New Haven Register here, and maybe we can help get that word out that you are looking for suggestions from the community. If you could just maybe share a little bit more detailed about that.
Well, it is up on the website. It's absolutely up on the website. It was put up, I want to say now,
Is it on the front page? Do you have to click? Where exactly? I'm not trying to be difficult.
No,
I just wanna...
Mike Walsh would be the best one. I can try to send the link out. In fact, what I can do is I can send the link to all of the council people, and then, you can send it maybe to your residents tomorrow. So I will do that.
I shared it on my Facebook, but
yeah, I know. I've seen it. I've already seen it on Facebook, and it's, it is important. Okay, link to questionnaire. Okay.
Okay. My other question is this, is that I just want to share that there is a difference between an audit and a forensic audit. And I believe we want to find out from the MARB what type of audit they're doing, because they have not committed to doing, they haven't commented if they're just doing an audit, which would be they would just pick and choose, or if they're doing a forensic. So my question is, if the MARB is doing a forensic audit, we would not be spending the money to do one.
Correct. We would
Correct.
not do the same work twice.
Same work twice. So if they don't do a forensic audit and they're just doing a scope audit, I'm not sure, it's called a different thing.
Sampling.
Sampling, thank you. Then you'd bring it before us to do a forensic audit to make sure.
Correct.
So we're not spending the money twice.
Correct.
Okay. My other, okay. So, I know that we have the questionnaire out there in regards to the ARPA funding, but my understanding is after the questionnaire, it was my understanding that I've heard, what else will you be doing? I was told that you'd be going and having meetings in the community, but I don't wanna.
What I want to do then is have at least 2 if not 3, public meetings, because I do want to hear input from the residents, which was always my plan. I've always stated that. And because, again, I was always somebody who reached out to the residents even when I was on the city council. I think it's important. Not one person can come up with all the ideas, and we're open to ideas. The only thing you have to do, that's why it's nice if you get the questionnaire first, because all the different groups are in there. There's all different, tabs to say, what you want to use it for. Do you want to use it for this? Do you want to, because there's only certain uses to use it for. You can't use it for whatever you want. There is still certain uses for the ARPA funding.
Thank you. Can we bring Frank up here so I can ask him a
Oh,
question?
yeah, Frank's right in the back row.
Frank. Oh, I do have one more question for the mayor,
Sure.
just before. So, if West Haven was raided by the FBI, like the rumors would be circling, would the West Haven Police Department know about that? FBI would have to let them know? Is
I
that-
don't know about that, but I have seen on television, actually a year ago, but, you've seen, when the FBI raids, they come in with FBI clothing on so that everyone knows who they are, and normally they take stuff with them. That's the whole idea of a raid, is to, stop it. They take different stuff with them, whether it be computers, different, things to stop and take it out of there so they can't be tampered with and things like that. Nothing like that happened to my knowledge, and no employee has come to me and stated that that happened in City Hall on Friday. Or for that
Or
fact, let me be
Thursday.
clear, or any day, any day, then, now,
So
or
not
even this
Thursday
week.
either?
No, not Thursday either.
Hi, Frank. I have a question. Back in July, I just want to make sure that you remember, because I remember, that I had asked you when, each month, when you sent us the monthly breakdowns of the end of the month physical, what was happening, that you include in them the expenditures for the COVID funding and what would be being spent.
Okay.
Do you recall us asking that on July 26th when we were having the
I do.
conversation? You don't remember?
I do.
Oh, you do remember. Okay, so I just wanted to say for the record that that was imposed back in July, that we would be getting those. Perfect. So I do have another question. So all the ARPA money is in an interest-bearing account at a bank?
Correct.
Okay. And we're saying that it wasn't spent.
Nothing's been spent from the ARPA funding yet.
Just because I want to be as transparent as possible and ensure that the community can trust what we're telling them, how do we prove that besides you just telling me that?
The auditors can take a look at the fund balance.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Councilman Massaro?
Question to the mayor. Is the FBI involved in this at this point?
I can't comment on that, one way or another.
Well, if they are, they usually do a forensic audit too, if it has to do with any funds.
Well, this is an if, but as I said, I can't comment on that.
That's it.
Is that all, Councilman?
I'm set.
You all set? Anyone else? Councilman Bruno?
Mayor, at this time, based on the own chain of events that we all don't want to experience, everything I take it is on lockdown, like, it would all have to go through you at this point, right? It's all on lockdown between Frank and yourself.
Right, in other words, it's between, and when you say lockdown, we have already done a couple of things different with our internal controls and everything else, that again, I don't want to give too much exposure to, but Frank and I are aware of that, and we're doing everything we possibly can to, continue, and we're gonna keep looking at everything. And as I said, through our audit and through the audit that is authorized by the Municipal Accountability Review Board.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have.
Councilman Cohen?
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. I have three, well, actually, I have just three questions, if I may, okay? I just think for clarity's sake, just going back to the FBI, raid, whatever, the FBI did visit City Hall last Friday. Can we at least say that they visited City Hall last Friday? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, it's for me, and no, we can't discuss that.
Okay, so we can't say if the FBI visited City Hall or not. Okay. The next question I had goes back to a comment that you made, and that was also made, I believe, by former Mayor O'Brien. To your point, we all agree that there was an outside attorney necessary because obviously our corporation counsel was named in the FOI. I guess what I'm trying to struggle with all the attorneys that are available, I'm just wondering, why did we hire an attorney that was a relative of somebody named in the FOI, or is that incorrect? I'm having a struggle with that, Mayor.
First off, there's more than one attorney there, number one.
Okay.
Number two, per the charter, and I'm sure you're familiar with the charter, Corporation Counsel hires the attorneys, not the mayor. There's a section in the charter that states that. So I had no say one way or another on hiring the attorney. So you can speak with Attorney Tiernan, he is available. But again, I trust that the relative that it's stating may be a member of the firm, but they have many lawyers there, and I doubt very, very much if that particular lawyer is the one doing the FOIs.
But we don't know that for a fact, who does the FOIs, but it is the fact that his relative does work at that firm. Is that correct, Mayor?
I don't have that fact. I'm telling you, that's what I was told. I haven't looked at the roster, but I do believe, and I'm saying I believe that he does work there. I don't know what capacity. These are questions that you would have to ask Attorney Tiernan. But that was the reason. And had Attorney Tiernan not been included in the FOI request, he would have been able to handle this, and his office would have been able to handle it without paying extra to send it to an outside law firm.
And finally, just a general comment that, because I understand that, and I absolutely agree that we have to find out what type of audit Marv is doing, or for that matter, what type of audit or investigation, if there is the FBI, because why pay twice or three times for something? But regardless, if by some, for whatever reason, that we are brought back here to approve a forensic audit, if this council is brought back here to approve a forensic that may have been diverted, and this should include demanding that all guilty parties pay restitution for the significant expense this forensic audit is costing taxpayers. Because I'm hoping that we don't have to, meaning the city, have to pay for a forensic audit, but if we do, we should be getting back every penny. And that's all I had. Thank you very much.
Can I add one thing?
That's the chair.
Sorry. Sorry, Chair.
So I agree with Councilman Cohen, and those are absolutely the statements that the mayor has made herself, that we will go after for restitution of anyone who's prosecuted, correct?
That is correct, and one thing I would like to add, I want all of the money back, but I also want them to go to jail. Whoever the people are, they took money from one of the poorer cities in the state of Connecticut, being that we are under the review board. And there's only 3 of us. So out of 169 municipal.
Does anyone else have any questions?
To answer the FOIs, I personally don't think that our lawyers would jeopardize their law firm or their license to hire like a improper law firm to answer questions. It's just a statement that I want to put out there. And I don't know, Mayor, do you think any differently?
No, I do not. Lee Tiernan has integrity. He wouldn't do something like that. And as I said, normally himself or the attorneys in his office and his paralegal handle all the FOIs to keep costs down. The only reason it went out is because of the possibility of someone stating there was a conflict of interest, so he didn't want to take any chances with that, wanted to do the right thing and put it to an outside law firm.
So if I could just follow up in regards to Councilwoman Hamilton's thoughts, because I agree that I would never, like, the lawyer doing the work for us, if it was to be done in a way that broke any law or broke their oath, they would then lose their license to practice law in the state of Connecticut, and to assume or make those rumors or innuendos about anybody without true and actual fact, I think again is unfortunate, that we would even allude to that somebody would put their whole career on the line to, it's just unfortunate. Did anyone else have any questions? Chairman, Councilman Cohen has questions. Do you want to go first, or do you, I don't want
Oh,
to
you want to go
usually
first
go
time?
last.
Listen,
Well, no,
Impinging on anyone's integrity, and any accusation of that is false. But it is just dumbfounding to many of us that with all the attorneys and law firms that there are to basically do the FOI, that they picked that one. That's all I will say on that. Also, I'd also like to say that, and I understand and I respect the mayor's position that she cannot comment regarding if the FBI raided, visited, whatever, but there have been several other verified accounts by the news media that yes, the FBI did visit City Hall. So that was verified by the news media. So maybe the mayor cannot comment, but obviously the news media did comment, and I believe that the news media has been extremely credible with their investigation. Thank you.
Fake news.
Chairman Clagniani.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it, 2 minutes.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Listen, it's incredibly difficult for me to sit up here and keep composure based on what we know about potential irregularities with this CARES Act funding. So we're all emotional people, and we're all West Haveners, and I haven't slept very well since I found this out through the mayor on Friday. So I have a whole lot I want to say, but I know as a 38-year police officer that we have to allow the investigations, the audits to take place, and then, based on the findings, this council needs to take whatever action is appropriate. So I would like right now to take all sorts of action, but you know what? All it would be based on would be rumor and accusation and conjecture, not the way to govern. That being said, I want to talk about due diligence. So if you, unfortunately for a lot of communities, including us, this council spent the last year and a half virtual, right, over Zoom meetings, right? We continued to meet, we continued to do the best we could with our due diligence, but it was just that. It wasn't a physical meeting, it was a Zoom meeting. So the potential exists for irregularities in this particular grant. What happened back in July, our first in-person meeting, and that you requested, Councilwoman Hosky, that it go on the agenda, was a discussion of our finances, discussion of the COVID-19 or CARES Act, and it was a communication to hire our independent auditor, which we passed unanimously that evening with the amendment that the independent auditor look at the CARES Act funding, because we had people coming up to this podium concerned. So we did pass that motion in July. So those independent auditors did what we asked them to do. The mayor reviewed those same funds. They found irregularities, and they did what they're supposed to do. They came to the city council and notified me, which I notified all of the council members by email, attached the mayor's statement, right? And the mayor went to the public with this issue that we have found irregularities, and I'm going to the public and to make sure that we're transparent. It's very difficult to sit here and not be able to say what you want to say. But when you're told that there's investigations going on and you can't comment on that, and this is a rumor, and you can't disparage people because you don't have the facts, That's been my world for 38 years. I know about that, but it's still incredibly frustrating to me. So I would imagine how it's incredibly frustrating to all of you and to the members of this community. The only thing I want to also say about oversight, listen, sometimes you could see things happening and you work to adjust to make sure that they don't happen. And then there are times, I know in my career, in my supervisor roles, that all of a sudden you're going along fine and you get hit in the side of the head with a brick. And you have no idea that, holy cow, how could this happen? And you know what? You find out why it happened, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you continue on, because that's what we all have to do. So, you know, as far as oversight it goes, listen, this is probably the one time in the last 25 years that there's been more oversight. And you know what? Okay, everything looks like we're headed in the right direction. We have a member of the MARB, we have a member of the OPM, a paid member that works out of our finance department. Is that, man, it really, you know, West Haven's had enough black eyes in its history. I'm a lifelong irregularities where maybe money was misappropriated for a city that's pretty much broke. You know, when money's supposed to have gone to individuals that are suffering from COVID or programs that could help bring people up, is disgusting. But you know what? It is disgusting, but we need to wait and find out what happened and then identify those issues as a city council. Allow the independent auditor to do their work, allow OPM auditors to do their work. If there's a criminal investigation, which I'm sure, you know, there likely is underway, then allow them to do their work. And then, yeah, we need to make sure that whatever the outcome is we take that swift action. And I agree with Councilman Cohen and Councilwoman Hosky and Mayor Rossi. And listen, this is unthinkable. So the individuals not only should be terminated, and they should go to, you know, be criminally prosecuted, and full restitution should be made, including the forensic audit if we decide, and included all the expenses that we've paid in order to have to investigate and handle this. So there's no question in my mind. I would challenge anyone here tonight to raise your hand and say, oh no, I don't agree with that, I don't agree with that. Of course we agree with that. But you know what? We have to let this investigation and these audits take its course. It's sickening to think that people potentially may have misused money. But to just say that, you know, well, we're not doing anything, or we should have did this, or we should have did that, how much more can you do with all the oversight in July? Before anybody got up to this podium, we recognized that there may have been, you know, we wanted to take a deeper dive to those CARES Act funds, and we did, and that's why we had requested that the independent auditor review that. You know, that's why we did that. So, you know, it's as you can tell, I'm frustrated, right? I'm frustrated because I want this to be solved now. I'm frustrated that we can't take action now. Yes, the mayor and the finance director are kicking the tires and redoubling as regarding internal controls, but we don't have the answers yet, but we want the answers. I would like, though, from Frank or Lee or whoever it may be, and Stacy, maybe you could write a record. I'd like to see the outstanding FOI complaints that are currently pending for the city, and what the status is, and what the status is. And I took up way too much of your time, but this has been since Thursday boiling inside of me, and it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed swiftly. It needs to be thorough, and it needs to be transparent. And the hard part about this is I know that it's difficult now to be overly transparent, because we know what everybody else here knows. We hear this rumor and this innuendo and this accusation and this conjecture, and we have to wait. And waiting is painful for me. So I'll yield the floor, Councilwoman Hosky. Thank you.
No, I appreciate your comments, Chairman, and I think that you said many great things, but I appreciate the ending when you said waiting for the right information. Frank, there was one question I did forget to ask you. How much?
And that was for this year. We should get the same amount next year.
When you say next year, do we have a date?
Fiscal '23.
Yes. And when you say next year, do we have a date on when that will come through?
I have not seen a date yet.
Okay. So right now, there's 14 million.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have any questions for Frank? Absolutely. Wait, Rossi, go ahead.
I wanted to ask a question about the questionnaire.
Go right ahead.
All right, I was thinking, as I was listening, the questionnaire, you know how you have the text messages that go out, that cooling stations are open? Can the link be sent through that, number one? And can we please have a few hard copies, either at City Hall or talk to Colleen at the library, so that people can, who don't have computer access, can have a way to fill them out?
Maybe at the police department as well.
Yeah.
That might
So
be-
that there's, and maybe someplace
Like
in
a Dropbox.
Allingtown where people could pick up a few.
I will check about the link, like the polling, if you will. That'll be a Mike Walsh or a Jermaine question tomorrow. But the rest, I'm sure Colleen always likes to help.
She's always
She's
really
very
good.
good about that. And any place else that we can put them, as I said, it goes through all the different categories, and it is, you know, I think it's important because everyone has a good idea, and maybe we'll get a few.
Maybe the community center, the
Yeah.
senior center. That's real, now you got me thinking. So, yeah,
Thank you. That's
maybe
it.
even the high school, I mean, it might be the high school.
We could put it at the high school.
I mean, just, you know, get all wide variety, age
All the
range of, I was saying at the high school, maybe even the kids in the community can give us some ideas on how to spend the money. Mayor Rossi, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just wanted to respond with what Councilman Cohen said, that the news vetted whether or not the FBI was here. No offense, I don't know what news media you're relying on, but I know one thing, that if they were in City Hall, and let's look around at who's here. Is there anyone here without a phone with a camera on it? I didn't think so. I have a hard time believing that the FBI came into City Hall and raided us anywhere in City Hall and someone didn't snap a picture. And according to any of the sources, which are my employees, no raid took place here. So, again, I don't know if they visited maybe, but a raid and a visit are two different things. And again, I don't know that. But no, it's not. You put your hands up, Mr. Cohen?
No, for just
Like,
one.
no, I seen you go, like, in other words.
Mayor, just
Please,
finish
Mayor,
your,
show some decorum.
finish your thought.
Show some decorum.
You-
Thank you, Barry. I've got it under control, but
The thing is that I was here, and no one reported a raid, no one saw anything, and clearly to keep stating that it's a raid, I think it's really unfair and just keeps the negativity going on.
Thank you, Mayor Rossi. Does anyone else have any questions? Is it a question? Are we taking questions?
It's a rebuttal, is what it is.
listen, here,
Excuse me, I think that she
Excuse-
mischaracterized what I said, and I said if it was a
I
visit,
did not give you
raid,
the floor,
whatever.
Mr.
I know you
Councilman
didn't,
Cohen.
but I wasn't sure I was gonna get
I did not
it.
give you, with all due respect, we're
Yes.
talking about decorum, so wait for yourself to be called on, and then I will turn it over to you. Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions of the finance chair? Go ahead with your rebuttal, Councilman Cohen.
If the mayor was listening carefully, I said, I don't know if it was a raid or visit or what have you. I am not accusing of a raid, maybe other media accused of a raid, but I will say again that it was verified that the FBI visited City Hall. So please, don't try to twist what I am saying. I'm very sure of what I am saying, and if the media was wrong, but you're talking about leading media, not some gossip media. This is leading media. These are people that do their jobs, and they deserve that same respect. So I am not trying to fabricate anything. I am not lying, and I'm sure is not going to put up with that type of response when they are trying to do it for other purposes beyond being purely transparent. And that is exactly what I am doing today, is being transparent, and this administration will be accountable, and they will be accessible when this investigation happens. And we as a council will most surely ensure that that happens. So I am sorry if the mayor misunderstood, but I thought I clarified it quite nicely last time, and here it is the second time that I'm clarifying it. Thank you very much.
Good showboating there.
Can I wrap, Councilman, I'm sorry. Can I wrap up here?
I would more than be pleased.
Whether there is FBI involvement or not, whether they visited City Hall or not, I hope that there is a criminal investigation ongoing, whether it be from the state police, whether it be from the FBI, whether it be the West Haven police, whether it be all three of them. So at the end of the day, you know, that's what should be done. If there's a potential investigation for potential irregularities, for misuse of funds, then my expectation is that there is a criminal investigation going on as well as audits. So we can slice it any way you want to slice it. I hope there is currently an ongoing active criminal investigation.
I do as well. And the time is now 8 o'clock, and your Committee on Finance is closed. I'm sorry, Councilwoman.
Yeah, I just
Go ahead.
briefly if I could.
Yeah.
Can I-
Absolutely.
Thank you. I just want to speak to the hard work of my colleagues, because I think that we were in unprecedented times. Many of us have served for the first time during a pandemic. And one of the things that I've seen you all do and try to be is transparent, honest. Obviously, it's unfortunate with what's taking place, and I know we can't really talk about it. A lot of us did not know what was transpiring. We all just found out, like Chairman said. And, you know, the comments regarding our administration, that we're crummy and we're dishonest and we're crooks and we're all these different things, to have served alongside all of you, and we're all a part of this administration. I've seen all of you, every single person, work hard. Every meeting we had was on Zoom. And I believe that our city is in a position that we have never been in before, fiscally, racially. I think that we're having discussions we've never had before. And I just wanted to speak to the work ethic that I've seen come forth from this council. As I've been able to serve from you and learn from you, I know for sure that you're not crummy people, you know, and I know they say sticks and stones, but words do affect you, especially when you are in a job that's oftentimes thankless. And so I just wanted to say that to you all, so, thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I'm sorry, thank you.
Councilwoman.
Thank you, Frank.
Councilwoman McGee. Anyone else? It is now 8:02, and your Finance Committee is closed, Chairman.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hosky. Next up, unfinished business. We have none. Committee reports, if the clerk would read Communication A into the record.
Communication A from the tax collector in regards to overpayment refunds for the month of September 2021, which will be filed with tonight's minutes, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Stacy. Adoption of ordinances previously presented. We don't have any pending this evening. Are there any council liaison reports? Councilman Bruno?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the police department, both the cameras and the body cameras, the building cameras and the body cameras are both moving forward at this time. It's happening as we speak at the PD. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Bruno. Any other council liaison reports? Okay, next up is new business. Does anybody have any new business? Seeing none, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
By Councilwoman McGee, seconded by Councilman Galignano. We're adjourned. Thank you.